All right, guys. Well, good evening, and thank you all for coming. So I'm Deputy Chief Mark McCormick, Commander of Operations and Public Information Officer for the Kenner Police Department. The purpose of holding this press conference today is just to provide an update into the investigation of the death of Adan Manzano. As you know, he's a media member down in the city of New Orleans working for this year's Super Bowl. With me today is Kenner Police Chief Keith Conley and Jefferson Parish Coroner Dr. Jerry Satanovich. As most of you know, during our last press conference and our updates over the last month, Adan Manzano was found deceased in a Kenner hotel room on February 5th. Investigators discovered some property, including his cell phone and credit cards missing from his room, and later developed Danette Colbert as a suspect in the investigation. An arrest warrant was obtained for Danette Colbert, and on February 6th, she was arrested by the Jefferson Parish Major Crimes Task Force. Since our last updates, detectives have worked tirelessly to uncover new evidence and information related to this investigation. Today, Chief Conley would like to share those updates with you. Chief.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. First off, I want to thank Dr. Satanovich for being here, the Jefferson Parish Coroner. I know there's been a lot of questions about the work he's done on this case, so I'm going to offer him to come up here with his staff, introduce the staff, and give a brief synopsis of what he's found. Doctor?
Okay. Step up. Good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Dr. Jerry Satanovich. I want to introduce who's with me. This is Tim Geneve, our Director of Forensic Operations, and Dr. Danette Colbert, who is our Chief Forensic Pathologist. I want to go over Mr. Manzano's preliminary autopsy findings. The cause of death we have as the combined toxic effects of alprazolam, which is also known as Xanax, with ethanol, which is alcohol, along with what's called positional asphyxia. The positional asphyxia means that he was found face down in a pillow with sparing of lividity, with no lividity around his nose and mouth. The manner of death at this point is undetermined. Now, to give a little more detail on the intoxication, his alcohol level was 0.232, which, as most people know, is almost 3 times the legal limit of alcohol. His Xanax level was 25 nanograms per milliliter. Now, that's just a number, but to give you an idea, a person who's taking a milligram of Xanax 3 times a day, which is a very healthy dose of Xanax, would achieve a level of about 30 nanograms per milliliter. So it's not an insignificant amount of Xanax in his system. In most cases of an overdose of Xanax, especially, and I'm talking about Xanax alone, those levels are usually over 100. However, when combined with other central nervous systems depressants, that amount goes way down. So those combined effects is what causes where we are today. I know that people will ask, well, I'll address it on the front end. People ask about, why is it undetermined? Well, in most cases of overdose deaths, the manner of death is accidental. Okay, and that's whether or not there's positional asphyxia or not, they're usually classified as accidental. However, given the uncertain circumstances of this case and the additional collection of circumstances of this case, we felt that the most appropriate manner of death is undetermined. So that's what I've got.
Any questions for Dr. Satanovich?
I have a question. So when mixing the Xanax with the alcohol,
yes,
that's what can sort of exacerbate it.
Exactly. So those are additive effects. Central nervous system, both of them are central nervous system depressants. And when you add them up, they're really bad. A good example I can give you is somebody who takes an anxiety pill and they fly and they take alcohol, and the next thing you know, they're out and they can't wake them up. That's kind of what it is. They're additive effects.
And So can it cause the heart to do, weird things like maybe stop or?
I don't think so. Typically, no. I mean, usually what happens is you wind up, one of the dangers is you wind up in a position where you are obstructing your ability to breathe.
Can you talk about just how long it took to get to this point? And initially the results were going to be 2 to 3 weeks, possibly up to 4. And here we are almost 2 months later getting preliminary results. And from what I understand, the complete results panel isn't in?
No, preliminary results are a dipstick. They can be pretty unreliable, okay? So what we do is we don't rely on those. We don't report it. Look, that got out because they had to use it to make charges. But for us, what we want is confirmatory testing that we got from a company called NMS. They are nationally pretty much the gold standard, of forensic laboratory a company. And so we waited to get their results. And, that can take anywhere from a month to 3 months.
You use the example of one person taking 1 milligram of Xanax 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
So about how many milligrams do you think he was given?
I don't know. I don't know.
At this point with the toxicology testing, I know narcotics were allegedly found in Miss Manzano's home. When you all tested what was found in her home, can you confirm that that was the drug in Manzano's system, the exact match?
Actually, well, I can't because I can tell you it's the same drug, okay, it's Xanax, okay, but, we don't have that drug, and I don't know if there's a way to test a batch to see if it's the same or not. So I don't think I can answer that question, but I can tell you, I'm told, again, my office doesn't do that part of the investigation to test what was found at her home. I can only confirm what was found in his system, and it was Xanax.
How difficult is this case going to be now that the death is unclassified and drugs are in Manzano's system, drugs were found at Miss Colbert's home, but y'all haven't been able to definitively say that it is the exact same?
There's a lot of dot connecting that's going to be done, not necessarily by our office, but there's a lot of work yet to be done, investigatory work.
So we can't say suffocation or anything was his cause of death. We're just saying it's undetermined right now.
Yeah, like we know that he's face down in a pillow. Okay, so and you can tell that by like I said, I was telling you, the lividity is when the gravity causes blood to pool. Okay, and if there's something pushing on you, like you're pushed up against a pillow, it won't pool. So in his case, there was sparing of lividity, no lividity in this area around here.
But you don't know if he just passed out that way or if someone was potentially holding him down.
That's a good point.
So can you explain the state he was found in with the asphyxia? So what was it again? You have blood in his,
No. Lividity is when blood pools, causing you to look flushed, I guess is the best.
Internal.
Yeah, it's internal. It's not bleeding. It's the blood in your capillaries, just gravity just pushes it down, with gravity.
So it was like internally, like in his face.
Internally, yeah, not blood coming out. No.
Okay.
Sorry if I didn't explain that well.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
You're very welcome.
That being said, further updates from the Kenner Police Department. We have identified and arrested an accomplice of Danette Colbert, Rickey White, who's kind of a transient. His last known address was in Gretna. Officers had developed him as a suspect going through information and evidence of this case. A warrant was issued for him. He was found in Hollywood, Florida. Friday, he was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals, Hollywood Police Department, and Secret Service Task Force, as well as members of the Kenner Police Department. So he is now in custody in the Broward County Sheriff's Office Jail in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, awaiting extradition. He was charged with the property crimes of simple robbery, access device fraud, illegal transmission of monetary funds, bank fraud, and computer fraud. So he's facing the same charges that Danette Colbert is locked down on right now. Another development is Based on evidence obtained since her initial arrest on February 6th, Kenner police officers have obtained an arrest warrant for second-degree murder yesterday on Colbert, and she was booked on that this morning in the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center. So now, as this case is ripe for prosecution, as it goes forward to the DA's office, I'm not really going to be giving much information on that because I don't want to compromise the adjudication of this case. Mr. Connick is going to be having to prosecute this case, and I'm not going to make his job any more challenging by trying it in the media as opposed to the courtroom. So that's all the information I have, other than she was booked this morning for second-degree murder based on a warrant that was signed by a commissioner, based on a probable cause in that warrant. I can tell you, to recap is basically what we said. We don't want Ms. Colbert to see the light of day again. We have worked collectively with Governor Landry, General Morrell, DA Connick, DA Williams, Colonel Hodges, Superintendent Kirkpatrick, Sheriff Randy Smith. All the probations in New Orleans and Jefferson Parish have either been revoked or there's motions to revoke them. She's got open charges in Kenner and St. Tammany, and General Morrell has invoked the Habitual Offender Act in New Orleans to try her for some serious time. So, I want to thank the cooperative effort of all our law enforcement agencies in this area, coroner's office, and getting the job done and being concerned about the safety of our public here in the metro area. So with that, I'll take any questions. Yes, Brittany.
Chief, do you think it'll be tough for the second-degree murder charge to stay, considering that his death has been ruled unclassified and there's not a definitive,
Well, no, look, there's a lot of pieces in this puzzle. We recognize it's going to be a circumstantial case. And Mr. Connick has some heavy lifting to do with that. But the fact that we passed, we crossed a hurdle by getting a probable cause affidavit signed for her being charged with second-degree murder is a good start. And, we're not going to give up. We are still investigating this case around the clock. I've got 4 officers assigned to this. We have a lot of data to go through. We have more data to go through now. I feel very confident on investigation and the effort of our detectives, as well as all the other agencies involved in this one particular case. So, we will support Mr. Connick in this throughout the whole adjudication.
Can you elaborate on how Mr. White is connected to this case?
We found correspondence and information where they were going back and forth. So we think they were working hand in hand in concert with each other on this. So that's basically where I'm going to leave it.
Do you believe Mr. White was with Ms. Colbert in the French Quarter the night that Adan Manzano was with her?
Stay tuned. That might be information that will be revealed later on in the adjudication of this.
Was the impetus to obtain the second-degree warrant the return of the toxicology case or some other evidence that hasn't been revealed yet?
No, it was a combination of all the evidence we had obtained. Like I said, they're all bricks in the foundation. Circumstantial cases are tough, but there's a place for them.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
What was that? If there's a place for them.
How soon do y'all expect to get Mr. White back here to Jefferson Parish?
He's in custody on our warrant in Fort Lauderdale, so I don't know if he's going to challenge extradition, fight extradition, or come willingly. So that's really up to the process.
Was Mr. White found in possession of any Mr. Manzano's belongings, credit card, etc.? And when he was taken into custody, did he possibly have any weapons or anything like that on him?
I don't have that information at this time.
I don't believe I heard you mention second-degree murder charge for Mr. White. Do you believe that there is a chance that could come in the future as well, along with Ms. Colbert?
Well, like I said in the very beginning, we don't speculate, we investigate. We go where the evidence leads us. So let's see where we end up a month from now. I heard one of the questions to Dr. Satanovich is, why did this take so long? Man, in a case like this, you got to get it right. You're not going to rush this. Our main concern was that, she wanted to get bonded out or released on own recognizance or something like that. So we're confident with the work that we've done with our partners in the criminal justice system that she's not getting out. So why would we rush anything in a case like this? We certainly want to measure twice and cut once, and that's what Dr. Satanovich has done to his department's credit. That's what the DA's office is going to do, and we're all going to be working arm in arm throughout this whole process to make sure that justice is served.
But overall, right now, even without the determined death, confidence level for y'all is high right now.
I'm very confident. Now, Mr. Connick's got some heavy lifting to do, but we're all here to do it together. And, we're still going to be uncovering facts and things that could assist in the prosecution of this case. And we're not going to stop until it's done.
And if y'all could clarify, just with Ms. Colbert being booked on murder charges, why is the death ruled unclassified?
Excuse me, can I chime in?
Yeah, please do.
Look, the second time you've asked that question, I want to make sure I address it. It's not unclassified, it's undetermined.
Undetermined.
Okay, so the classification of manner of death does not get in the way of the judicial system to do what they need to do based on the evidence that they collect outside of our investigation. The best example I can give you of that is somebody who dies in a car accident. Okay, they're going to come in, Dr. Troxler or one of the other pathologists is going to do an autopsy. It's going to be deemed accidental. That does not get in the way of the judicial system for prosecuting another person for vehicular homicide. It doesn't get in the way. If it just doesn't get in the way. So I don't want to give anybody the impression that we're not cooperating. We do an independent investigation, and I told you we're preliminary. Something may come up. We may find something that changes the opinion of our group of pathologists, and we may change it. But right now, that's where we are. And undetermined doesn't get in the way. I want to make sure that point's made.
No, thank you for making that point, Doctor. All right, any other questions?
For White, his charges are the same item number as Danette Colbert, meaning he's accused of simple robbery in the same incident that she's accused. He's accused of computer fraud, same incident she's accused, monetary transmission. All of those are the same act. Right?
That's correct, Michelle. Yes. And we do have a handout with some mugshots of both of them. All right, if that's it, I promise you and I commit to you that as we get more information, we'll pass it on. But I do have a commitment to the DA and to the judicial system not to really elaborate on any evidence or information that they're using to build their case. But I can assure you that the men and women of the Kenner Police Department and these other agencies that we've been working with are still working hard and moving forward to make sure that no other family has to go through this kind of loss, and that Mr. Manzano did not die in vain because of the effort that we're all given to make the streets a little bit safer by taking these kind of criminal elements off the street collectively together as a criminal justice component. I feel very confident that we're going to reach our goal. So thank you all for coming today. If you have any questions, I'll take them later.